This moment is not accidental. You are witnessing this because the time for your success has finally arrived. Carl Jung identified these profound moments as psychic signals, specific indicators the mind emits just before a major breakthrough. While most people overlook them, remaining trapped in cycles of defeat and confusion, wondering why victory remains elusive, your action of clicking this video signifies that your unconscious is now ready. This is what Jung termed synchronicity. Meaningful coincidences that, while appearing random, are anything but. They are evidence of the universe aligning itself specifically for your evolution. You are now poised exactly at the threshold, the gateway between your past identity and the powerful self you are destined to become. Here is what truly paralyzes people about achieving greatness. It is not the fear of failure, but the deep-seated fear of success itself. Jung explored this phenomenon, naming it the golden shadow. We instinctively suppress our brilliance, our competence, and our inherent power as fiercely as we suppress our darker impulses. Why this self-imposed limitation? Because winning demands accountability. Once you embrace your full potential, you lose the comfort of blaming circumstances or playing the victim. You become fully responsible for the life you forge. This level of self-authorship is often far more terrifying than the pain of remaining small. But before we delve deeper, it is critical to understand the root cause of past defeats. It's not misfortune or a cosmic conspiracy. You have been subtly addicted to losing because defeat is familiar. Your nervous system is meticulously wired to process that pattern. It has rehearsed this defeat cycle for years, perhaps decades. In contrast, winning registers as dangerous, uncharted territory. Because the brain interprets the unknown as a threat, it triggers instant self-sabotage right at the cusp of breakthrough, trapping you in a destructive yet familiar cycle. Jung observed this pattern repeatedly, patients approaching their greatest triumphs only to self-destruct, missing crucial interviews, alienating perfect partners, or abandoning viable businesses just before success materialized. He understood this wasn't weakness, but the psyche desperately attempting to shield itself from the sheer terror of transformation. Transformation requires a kind of death, not a physical one, but a profound psychological dissolution. It is the death of your former identity, the one skilled in losing, but utterly untrained in victory. Your psyche is currently preparing for this monumental shift, and Jung identified specific signs that herald this incoming turn. Jung termed the first sign enantiodromia, the moment when a thing turns into its opposite. This is the stage where life feels darkest just before the dawn, where you seem to hit rock bottom right before the inevitable breakthrough. Most mistakenly view this profound darkness as proof of their failure and give up moments before the transformation is complete. But Jung saw it as the psyche aggressively clearing out obsolete patterns to make vital space for new ones. The intense strain you feel is not life trying to crush you, it is life actively molding and preparing you. The second indicator is a sudden, inexplicable loss of enthusiasm for old habits and relationships. Things that once provided comfort suddenly feel hollow, and people you previously tolerated become emotionally unbearable. Jung described this as the psyche deliberately withdrawing energy from anything that obstructs growth. Your unconscious mind is already moving toward a new reality, but your conscious self hasn't caught up, resulting in a feeling of acute restlessness, disconnection, and waiting for something you cannot name. This state is not depression, it is psychological readiness. The third sign is what he called the pressure cooker feeling. You sense an internal urgency, an energy surge, and an absolute certainty that change is imminent. You feel this knowing deep within your body, defying all logic. Sleep and appetite patterns shift. You feel agitated yet intensely alive. This is your psyche, generating the necessary psychological compression to force a breakthrough to the next evolutionary stage. Many attempt to stifle this feeling with distraction, busyness, or addiction, but this only postpones the inevitable. The pressure will relentlessly accumulate until you permit the transformation. Here lies the true danger zone. When victory is closest, self-sabotage activates with maximum force. Jung extensively documented this phenomenon. Patients would unconsciously derail their progress just before major breakthroughs, sometimes starting feuds with therapists or manufacturing crises. He realized this wasn't resistance to treatment, but fierce resistance to individuation, the act of becoming fully and authentically oneself. Because your full self wields inherent power, and power eliminates the possibility of hiding behind excuses. Reflect on the last significant achievement you were about to claim. What intervened? Did you suddenly succumb to procrastination? Did you initiate a conflict with a crucial ally? Did inexplicable exhaustion or illness surface? These events are not random. They are manifestations of your psyche attempting to protect you from the terrifying implications of success. Success demands the maintenance of a new standard, the fulfillment of potential, and the acceptance of responsibility for your own power, a state that feels far more hazardous than remaining stuck. Yet, here is the profound truth that often goes unsaid. Winning is fundamentally not about luck, precise timing, or external circumstances finally aligning. Winning is about allowing. It is about actively ceasing the resistance to your own inherent evolution. Jung concluded that people rarely fail due to a lack of ability. They fail because they cannot psychologically tolerate the reality of success. They cannot handle visibility, the weight of power, or the responsibility that victory confers. Consequently, they sabotage themselves, ensuring the familiar pattern of loss prevails. They reaffirm their identity as the struggler, the victim, the one who perpetually almost succeeds. This identity is deeply comforting. It is known. It is home, even if that home is actively collapsing around them, destroying everything they claim to desire. Empaths aren't broken. They're alchemists in progress. Right now, you are being asked to deliberately incinerate that old identity, stepping out of the loser archetype and into the unknown mantle of the winner. This transition is terrifying precisely because the winner identity lacks a familiar script. You haven't practiced this role. Your nervous system doesn't recognize this frequency, making it feel wrong, dangerous, and utterly fraudulent. However, Jung provided the understanding that reframes everything. You are not attempting to become someone new. You are merely shedding the layers of conditioning, trauma, and fear to reveal who you authentically are. The winner is your true self. The loser is the survival mask you adopted in a world that routinely punished your inherent light. You learn to minimize yourself because playing big resulted in pain. You learn to fail because succeeding made others uncomfortable. You learn to sabotage yourself because your success threatened the people around you. Jung called this dynamic the collective unconscious pressure. When you begin evolving past your established family system, friend group, or cultural norms, the collective forcefully resists. It employs shame, guilt, doubt, and fear to force you back into line. Why? Because the liberation of one person challenges everyone else who remains imprisoned. Your newfound freedom acts as a mirror, exposing their own voluntary confinement. And most individuals prefer to attack the mirror rather than acknowledge their own cage. This is why the path to victory often feels isolated at first. Stepping into your power means stepping outside the collective agreement to stay small. People who are comfortable with your struggling self become deeply uneasy with the winning version of you. They preferred you when you confirmed their belief that success was unattainable, when you needed them, when you shared their struggles. Your victory dismantles that worldview. Consequently, they may withdraw their approval, friendship, and support. While this feels like a painful rejection, Jung interpreted this withdrawal as decisive confirmation that you are on the correct path. As you individuate and become fully yourself, you will inevitably lose people. You must lose them, because those relationships were founded upon your small, false, losing identity. They cannot survive your transformation into your winning self. This is not tragedy, it is profound liberation. This is the climax of Jung's entire study of success. You do not need to become someone different, you need only to cease pretending to be someone you are not. The winner has resided within you all along. You suppressed, hid, and denied this power because the world taught you that your brilliance was dangerous, that success would threaten others, and that your light would offend those who cling to darkness. So you dimmed your shine, became smaller, quieter, and learned to lose gracefully because winning felt unsafe. And now, after years or decades of this pattern, your psyche is finally exhausted. It is ready for you to win. But this requires a conscious choice. You must deliberately stop identifying as the victim, the struggler, the one who never quite makes it. You must claim the winner identity now, despite it feeling unfamiliar, scary, and wrong. This psychological shift alters everything. When you stop waiting for external permission to succeed, stop demanding perfect circumstances, and stop seeking universal approval for your victory, when you simply decide you are done losing and ready to win, reality reorganizes itself around that decision. This isn't magic, it is pure psychology. When you embody the winner frequency, you automatically make different choices, perceive new opportunities, and take decisive actions that generate drastically different results. Jung called this the individuation process, the transition from unconsciously existing to consciously choosing, from reactive living to creative power, from being lived by life to living life deliberately. And this process requires specific psychological steps. First, you must recognize your addiction to losing. You need to observe how you have unconsciously engineered failure to preserve a comfortable identity. Catch yourself in the act of self-sabotage. Watch the procrastination, notice the manufactured conflicts, and observe the crises you generate right before breakthroughs. Do not judge these habits, simply observe them with unblinking clarity. Second, you must integrate your golden shadow. This demands reclaiming the power, competence, and brilliance you've kept hidden. It means acknowledging that you are capable of achieving magnitudes more than you currently allow. You must admit that you have played small, not due to lack of ability, but due to a fear of responsibility. It means owning that you are actually extraordinary, yet have pretended to be ordinary to avoid threatening the status quo. Third, you must grieve the losing identity. Allow it to expire, not violently or with self-shame, but with deep compassion. That identity was a protective shield. It kept you safe when survival demanded it, guarding you when you were too wounded or young to protect yourself. But its utility is gone. It is now a cage, and you must walk out, even though leaving feels like dying. Because it is. The death of who you were, so you can finally become who you are. Fourth, you must claim the winner identity before the evidence appears. This is arguably the most challenging step. You must begin acting like the winner before you start winning. You must embody that frequency before reality mirrors it back. This will feel like lying, like fraudulence, and like sheer pretense. But Jung knew that all profound transformation necessitates this uncomfortable bridging period. You cannot wait until you feel like a winner to act like one. You must act like one until the feeling solidifies. This requires making choices rooted in winner consciousness, even when your present circumstances scream loser. It means showing up with confidence when fear paralyzes you. It means taking committed action even without a guarantee of success, because winners do not wait for certainty. They actively generate it through relentless commitment. Fifth, you must safeguard your transformation from collective unconscious pressure. As you begin winning, others will inevitably attempt to regress you. They will question your decisions, recount your past failures, and predict your eventual downfall. They often use concern as a weapon designed to reinstall your familiar losing identity. You must recognize this not as loving protection, but as collective fear. The group mind resisting your evolution because your success invalidates their excuses. Jung instructed his patients to anticipate and prepare for this resistance, emphasizing that true individuation requires absolute psychological independence. You must learn to trust your inner knowing over external opinions, value your growth above others' comfort, and choose your evolution even if it costs you approval, relationships, or a sense of belonging. The alternative is remaining small forever to pacify others, and that is abandonment of self. Sixth, you must learn to tolerate sustained success without destroying it. This is the stage where most falter. They finally break through, but the unfamiliar feeling of victory triggers a panic in the nervous system, which registers success as a threat. They unconsciously sabotage their gains, initiating conflict or making catastrophic decisions to revert to the familiar losing pattern. Jung termed this the regression reflex, the psyche's desperate attempt to retreat to known territory. To override this, you must consciously condition your nervous system to accept success as safe. When the urge to sabotage arises, pause, breathe. Remind yourself that the discomfort is merely unfamiliarity, not danger. Your system is adjusting to a new frequency. You do not need to act on the urge. Let it pass while you continue forward. With repetition, winning becomes as habitual as losing once was, allowing you to finally sustain the success you create. Seventh, you must understand that winning is not a destination, but a relentless practice. You don't win once and then stop. You win every single day through conscious choices aligned with your highest self. Some days this will feel effortless, others insurmountable. But you maintain the choice, regardless of your momentary emotions. Feelings are not facts. They are merely temporary nervous system responses. You are learning to act from consciousness instead of conditioning, from deliberate choice instead of deep-seated compulsion, and from inherent power instead of old programming. Jung believed those who successfully navigate this arduous journey become individuated. They are no longer dictated by collective unconscious patterns, nor are they slaves to fear and conditioning. They become conscious architects of their reality. They win, not through sheer luck, but because they are psychologically and spiritually aligned with the frequency of victory. Reality is compelled to reflect that embodied frequency back to them. This is your moment to win. Not because destiny suddenly smiled, but because you are finally prepared to allow yourself to succeed. You are finished with the identity of the loser. You are ready to embrace your power even in the face of terror. You are ready to take full responsibility for your potential instead of hiding behind the comfortable shield of excuses. And that readiness changes everything. The signs are already manifesting in your life: the pressure, the restlessness, the profound dissatisfaction with everything that used to be. The feeling that you have finally reached your limit, the visceral sense that something profound is about to shift, these are not accidental signals. This is your deeper psyche actively preparing for a necessary transformation. Your unconscious machinery is fully ready. The core conflict now resides in your conscious mind. Will it embrace this evolution or actively resist it? The ultimate decision is yours. Will you permit the necessary shift, or will you fight it? Will you fully claim the winner identity, or continue to cling desperately to the losing one? If you choose the path of transformation, here is your immediate agenda. First, you must acknowledge that you have actively chosen to lose. not through deliberate conscious malice, but through the unconscious mechanisms of self-sabotage, chronic procrastination, and habitual settling. Observe this pattern without layering judgment onto it. Simply recognize its persistent existence. Second, make an unwavering decision that you are finished. Draw a hard line in the sand. Make the conscious, resolute choice that maintaining a losing posture is utterly unacceptable. You will no longer betray the magnitude of your own potential merely to sustain fleeting comfort. Third, identify one single demonstrable action you can execute today that aligns perfectly with the winner identity you wish to embody. Not a vague plan for tomorrow, not contingent on feeling completely ready. The action must be taken today, right now, while the kinetic energy of this profound realization is still vivid within you. Fourth, anticipate resistance from yourself, from those around you, and even from life itself. When this inertia arrives, refuse to interpret it as confirmation that you are failing. Instead, interpret it as irrefutable evidence that you are successfully transforming. Understand this equation. The stronger the resistance, the greater the magnitude of the breakthrough waiting on the other side. Fifth, cultivate relationships with people who can truly witness your metamorphosis without attempting to halt or derail it. This journey of individuation cannot be traveled in isolation. You require genuine allies who grasp the complexity of self-evolution. Individuals who have traversed this challenging path themselves and who are capable of holding sacred space for your growth without exerting control over its direction. Sixth, commit religiously to the daily practice of choosing to operate from your highest self rather than submitting to the demands of your conditioned self. Each morning, pose the critical question: what action would the fully realized winner version of me take today? Then, execute that action, even when it generates profound discomfort, even when it feels artificial, and especially when it feels like pretending, because this is the mechanism by which you construct the bridge between the self you were and the identity you are destined to become. You act as if until the action crystallizes into permanent being. This marks the definitive moment for you to finally win, because you have finally granted yourself permission to claim the victory. The universe itself has patiently awaited this specific readiness. Your entire unconscious architecture has been in active preparation for this juncture. Everything that guided you to this content, everything that prompted the click, everything that held your attention until this very second was synchronicity, a meaningful coincidence. The universe systematically organizing its structure around the necessity of your personal evolution. Now you grasp the implication. Now you perceive the profound psychological reality underlying the mystery. You are positioned squarely at the gateway separating your obsolete life from your new existence, the boundary between the losing identity and the triumphant one, between subconscious living and intentional conscious creation. The mandate is unequivocally yours. You are free to dismiss this video and retreat into the comfort of your habitual patterns. You can feign ignorance regarding what you have just absorbed. You can attempt to convince yourself that this insight is irrelevant to your situation. Or you can definitively step through the gateway. You can assert your inherent power. You can finally and irrevocably become the person you were fundamentally meant to be. Carl Jung dedicated his life to illuminating this precise trajectory for others, not primarily to ensure their immediate happiness, but because he recognized that human consciousness possesses an innate imperative to evolve, an evolution that unfolds one individual at a time. Each person who successfully completes their individuation process significantly lowers the barrier for others aspiring to do the same. Your impending transformation is not merely a personal achievement, it possesses a collective resonance. By choosing to stop the pattern of losing and deliberately initiating the process of winning, you fundamentally alter the frequency of possibility for every soul within your orbit. You become the empirical, living proof that deep psychological transformation is absolutely attainable. Therefore, the time for your victory is here, not because you are inherently more deserving than anyone else, but because you are finally willing to claim it. You are finally prepared to cease diminishing your own light just to appease the comfort of others. You are finally finished betraying your own immense potential solely to secure a sense of belonging. You are consciously selecting evolution over the inventory of your excuses. And that singular choice is sufficient to redefine everything. If you are ready to fully commit to stepping into this winning timeline, subscribe to this channel. We are dedicated to delving profoundly into Jung's most impactful discoveries regarding psychological transformation. We explore the shadows, the universal archetypes, and the intricate unconscious patterns that currently dictate the trajectory of most lives. Crucially, we are learning precisely how to break these chains, how to achieve true individuation, and how to become fully and authentically yourself in a world aggressively demanding conformity. Welcome to your new timeline. This is the moment where every aspect of your life begins to change. This is the point where you stop losing and finally commence the sacred work of becoming exactly who you were always intended to be.